There and welcome to my channel. Today's project is for the Vicki Boutin design team, and this week we're working projects with fall, and fall happens to be my favorite season, so I'm going to create a layout that has to do a lot with layers, a lot with fall colors, and I'm actually going to work with a big die, and this die is from Conqueror 9, one of my favorites, and actually I'm going to use quite a bit of layers to create my die cuts. And you're gonna see my idea is to have a cascade of leaves falling on the page and have my picture right on the center. And I chose this idea because the picture that I have is me holding a leaf. We went out for a walk with my son, and there was such a wind, and I just kind of stretched my hand and the leaf fell on my hand. So I took a picture and I want to document it because it made me feel so happy to know that you know, there was sometimes that you need some reassurance, and that was one of them. So I'm going to start with creating my background. And for this, I am using the powder pigments from Vicki. And I'm going to start by creating, I'm going to say like a soft curvature of mixed media, a little puddles of color on my page. And I'm using the foundation paper. I have not added yeso to it. This is the foundation paper as is. So I'm mixing a little bit of the yellow with a little bit of cherry tart, which is the red pigment, and a little bit of coral macaroon, which is the light pink pigment. And once I have that in place, I'm mix them all together, diluted them with some water. I'm actually gonna pick the color with the I'm using a piece of packaging just to help me spread the color. I know Vicki calls it the kissing technique, and she uses a piece of acrylic just to move the pigment. It's pretty much the same technique, but I'm using a piece of plastic, and I just love the fact that I can mold it a little bit better with that. I don't get that lines, and if I get that lines, you're gonna see that I actually get them when you move the plastic. I'm gonna come in with my brush and kind of just soften it a little bit by moving it, and then I'm gonna add splatters, because if you know my work, then you know there's gonna be quite a few splatters in my page. So I'm going to continue working the yellow part of my layout, and it's going to be right at the top. I'm going to go from yellow to kind of the maroon purplish tone that you find on the leaves. But I'm not gonna, once I finish adding the yellow part of the mixed media on my page, I am not gonna clean the yellow leftover paint that I have. Instead, I'm gonna add more color to it and work the next color. So you saw that I added a little bit of the orange powder just to create that orange tone of the leaves. Again, I added a little bit of the powder, mixed it with the yellow base that I had, added a little bit more water just to dilute it, and then I'm gonna follow the same technique by picking up the color with some of my packaging and going on top of the area just to create that little watercolor mark. And then one of the things you have to keep in mind is I'm not adding that much water because I am not actually flooding the paper. I'm just picking a little bit of the color, so my paper is not gonna warp. It is gonna have a little bit of, like, you know, it's gonna dip a little bit, but not significantly. So once I created my little area of orange, you saw that I added a little bit of the coral macaroon, which is the light pink powder, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of sugar strawberry, which is that kind of fuchsia powder, and that's just gonna help me transition into the purple. But when I mixed those two to the base that I had, that orange, it gave me this really nice coral kind of pinkish tone. And again, I'm just picking up some of the color with my plastic, or my packaging in this case, and just spreading it. You're gonna see how I slowly am forming the curvature. Now, to form the last color, I'm actually gonna add a little bit of blue and some of the sugar strawberry, which is the fuchsia powder, onto the base that I have. Add more water, dilute it, and you're gonna see that it forms that kind of purplish tone. And just to kind of warm it up a little bit, I'm gonna add a little bit of the coral macaroon, which is the light pink tone of the powders, and just mix it together, and it gets to the perfect maroon kind of purplish tone that the flowers have. And again, all I'm doing is adding it to my page with the packaging, and then I'm gonna add some splatters, and you see how the lines form when I lift up the paper, the plastic, it forms that line. All I do is go with my brush and then just kind of soften it a little bit, kind of move it. I make sure that I wet my brush so I don't get that straight line, and that's about it. I added some splatters, set it aside to dry. Now, when you are in a windy situation, there's usually dust coming around. So to create that idea, I'm gonna actually bring this stamp is from Field Notes, is the one that has all the little sections of crosses and lines, and I'm gonna bring the metallic ink pad and just stamp some of the little crosses around the page, kind of following the same design that I have on the background. Well, that's it completely, because remember, first of all, I let the paint dry before I added my crosses, but the pigment ink tends to be a little bit, not tense, it stays wet a little bit on the foundation paper. To make sure that it dries completely, I'm going to set it aside and I'll start working on the papers to create my leaves. And for that, I pulled the Wildflower and Honey collection. I want to pick up the colors that I have on the background. So a lot of yellows, a lot of oranges, a lot of that pinkish tone. I'm going to bring some craft, and I cut all this from the 6x8 and the 12x12 paper pads. And you're going to see that I cut some squares, but I want to bring some interest to the background, and I want to cover some more, like I don't want to have the lemons showing. So my idea is I'm going to mix a little bit of rose gold glaze with a little bit of the gold glaze, and you're going to see the side of my craft mat. I'm going to mix them together, and then I'm going to use the flat brush from the watercolor brush set. I'm going to use the first brush on the left, which is the flat brush, the biggest one, and all I'm going to do is kind of paint some areas of the paper with this glaze, and I'm going to set it aside to dry. Now you're going to see that my glaze is getting really dry, and it's because my gold glaze is getting really dry. So my choice is, instead of painting because it was giving me a hard time, I'm going to get my palette knife and just kind of spread some of the mixture on my page. I love how this turned out. Again, you're gonna see that I'm nothing straight. I'm being kind of like really messy when adding this, and don't worry, the leaf is not gonna look bad, because the way the leaf is set up, there's a lot of intricate design inside of it. So it's gonna cut some of these, I'm gonna say, imperfect addition of glaze. And one of the things, I'm gonna make sure that it dries completely before I decide to go die cut my leaves. So I'm gonna set that aside to dry and come back on working on my background. So now the ink has already set. So what I want to create is a little bit of texture. Again, I'm thinking about the trails that the wind creates. When you see a cartoon, you usually see whenever there's a butterfly or wind around it, there's like these little swish motions that they draw. I'm going to bring that onto my page by using texture paste. This is Vicky's texture paste, and one of the first stencils, this is the one from the All the Good Things, and it's actually the hanging chains, but I'm going to actually flip them so they're horizontal, and I'm just going to add a little bit of the texture to the page through those little holes, but going on a horizontal motion just to some areas, because a lot of it is going to be hidden by the leaves. Again, what the texture paste said, I went ahead and started die cutting my leaves, and you're going to see them right now. They look so beautiful because you can actually see the detail of the paper, and you can see the gold and the gold glaze in the middle. I love how this turned out. So my idea is I'm going to create the cascade of leaves on my page. For that, I want to give the picture a little bit of lift. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the negative pieces that I have left over from die cutting the leaves to create layers behind the picture. So you're going to see that I'm going to play with some of them. I'm going to add some little pieces of tape behind it just to keep them in place. When I have them all ready, I'm actually going to staple all of them together so they won't move. Remember, these are pieces that I've already cut up the center of it. So I'm going to make sure that I staple them really well. And then I'm going to add a piece of chipboard right to the center of these layers, just to kind of create a little bit of a lift between the picture and the layers, and just to also make sure that when you staple the layers, you're going to create a little bit of dimension on the staple, and the chipboard is going to take care of that so that the picture doesn't dip when you add it to the page. Once I have that in place, I'm going to add some strong adhesive just to keep it in place. Remember, I have quite a bit of mixed media and also uneven layers, so I'm going to use quite a bit of glue just to keep it in place. And then I'm going to start playing with the leaves. And the way I'm going to add the leaves, I'm going to add the leaves that correspond to the color of mixed media that I have in that area. So you're going to see that I'm going to bring some of the red and the pink at the bottom, and I'm going to bring some of the yellow and the orange towards the top of the page, and just in the transition I'm going to add some of the craft leaves, and that's about it. I added a tiny little pieces of foam adhesive to some areas, but the advantage is that because I added the glaze, and when I die cutted the leaves, they kind of created a soft curvature. So I'm going to see that I'm going to try to keep that as much as I can, and I'm just going to glue the leaves in some areas. And because I'm talking about mixed media, I'm going to put some weight in it just to keep it in place. And then all it's going to come is going to be about embellishing and finishing this layer. I found the word love in the puffy stickers. I still have it, so that's going to be part of my title. My title is going to be on the top right corner of the picture. And the title is gonna be Fall Love. I went into my stash looking for some small gold alphas, and I found them. These are from a pink paisley collection, and you're gonna see that I'm gonna like I said, add my title, and then I'm gonna add one of those little arrows that come in the puffy stickers, just so it points to the leaf. After that, I'm actually gonna bring a few stickers. I am actually using, everything comes from the Wildflower and Honey collection. Some chipboard stickers, some of the cardstock stickers. I'm gonna bring some of the word stickers, the little phrases that you're gonna see. They come from the little tablets, a lot of chipboard. And I'm gonna add, just because I have that gold glaze and that rose gold glaze on the leaves, I actually went into my stash to an old Heidi Swap sticker book, and I put a few stickers, some circles that she had on one of the pages, just to kind of add more to the clusters that I created. After that, I'm gonna add my lines of journal right underneath the picture, and I write quite a bit. Like I said, it just happened at a moment that I needed reassurance, and the things just happened, and I was able to hold the leaf in my hand. And that's about it. I love how this turned out. Even though it takes quite a bit to build, I love it, and I hope you try it. As always, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me. I would love to give you a hand. Remember that you can always reach me, and don't forget how to check out Vicki's stuff. Her collection is probably one of my favorites, and it's amazing. Check out all her products, and don't forget to check back with us. We'll be working on Vicki's challenge next week and throughout the month, just to give you a hand and give you some ideas on how to use the challenge. Thank you so much for joining me today, and take care, guys. Bye bye.